to the degree that you want something is the degree you're afraid of not having.
Yeah.
God, I wish I started when I was younger. I go, well, yeah, but you didn't. So shut the fuck up and let's
Right.
keep going.
Right.
Like, you can't.
Nobody changes until they change their energy. And when you change your energy, you change your life.
Because it's not till then that it's really real.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is way worse than I thought. It's like, oh yeah, it's way, way worse than you thought.
Yeah.
But luckily there's more to you than you think.
Charlie Rocket, my man.
What's up, bro?
What's going on? We had some fun this morning.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So tell us about what we did and where you came up with this idea for what we did.
All right, so for everybody listening or watching, when I pulled up at your house, I was like, man, let's go start the day off with a winning streak and let's hit a drive-through. And you're like, what's a drive? Like, what do you mean? It's like, nah, let's go bless somebody. And one thing we do every single day on our tour, we have this thing called the Dream Machine Tour. And we go across the country helping make people's dreams come true. But it always starts with this one question. What's your dream? And so we went to the drive-thru. We pulled up the Dream Machine. You went through the drive-thru first. You asked the baristas who took your order what their dreams were. And I was like, it's sometimes nice to like hear people's dreams that are like very humble.
Mm-hmm.
And because a lot of people have these big extravagant dreams, but some people just want to be happy and have a family and have a nice savings. And these young kids at the drive-thru, that's what they told you.
Yeah, and these kids, so this is the drive-thru where I get my coffee all the time, and they're the nicest, they're like the nicest kids, all between 18 and 22. There's a variety of them that rotate through, but they're always so engaging. They look me right in the eye. They really ask me how I'm doing, but not just as a courtesy, like this is the script, ask the customer how they're doing and then get their drink. It's not like that. They take their time. They ask how I'm doing. How was your day? And it'll cause me to pause and be like, how was your day? And that's a gift that they've given me, 75 times in the last year. So it's cool to be able to go there and then really ask them, as you said, like, what's your dream? And you were on the phone, so you got to hear that all go down.
Yeah, it was beautiful, man. And Aubrey blessed their dreams, and it was beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to be a part of. Pulled out like $1,200 and started their like savings accounts and really and they were just blown away. They were so blown away. But you got to think, like, people who do drive-thrus or just any job, everything is so robotic. It's always like, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you? And then boom, what's your order? And to be able to have that nice little change of pace, it just like fuels people up to just have a human interaction other than the robotic, like programmed interaction.
And to believe that the universe is a benevolent force that is acting on your behalf. There's so many other times that random bad shit happens. And then it can convince you, like, man, this world out here is tough.
Yeah.
Because this thing happened, or this accident happened, or this bad thing happened, and this bad news comes. But to flip that, what that does psychologically, even beyond the, three baristas, they got to split they got $400 each. That's cool. That's going to help them. They'll put it in their savings, and that'll feed their dream to, have enough to save up for family and their house one day. But what it does psychologically, I think, is far more important, because now they're looking at the universe being like, man, there's good people in this universe, and the universe has got my fucking back. I'm on a winning streak, as you say.
That's right. There's always like this frequency of like, that most of us are programmed for, is like kind of like a paranoia frequency, because there are a lot of bad things that happen.
Yeah.
And subconsciously you feel like, oh, the universe is conspiring against me. Like, I know, like, as optimistic as I am, I'll have days where I'm like sluggish, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, ah, and then like something kind of bad goes wrong, like for example, our crock pot in our Dream Machine just fell out of the cabinet and broke. And if I'm feeling bad on those days, what would go through my mind? I'll be like, oh, it's gonna be one of those days.
Right.
And I just set the tone for like what I'm now expecting. I'm now expecting it to be one of those days, so I might go throughout the day looking to confirm my belief.
Yeah.
So I'm actually looking for things that are wrong. But what I've tried to do in my life is like flip it around and to be on a winning streak. And to be on a winning streak is like this, instead of like paranoia, it's more like a pronoi. It's like the universe isn't conspiring against me, it's conspiring for me.
Yeah.
And so when I wake up in the morning, I'll say,
Is that
you know
a real
what?
word, by the way? Pronoia?
It just makes sense to me. I don't think it
Fuck,
is.
it makes sense to me.
So,
I believed it, but I just wanted to double check because I know a lot of words.
so a friend of mine who works with Peter Thiel, he was like, Charlie, like, you're very pronoid. And he's like one of these like super educated guys. And I'm like, man, I've never heard that word before. But he's like, Charlie, you're pronoid. The universe is always conspiring for
Ryan,
you.
is that a real word?
Looks like it is.
It's
Really?
a real ass word.
Hey.
I just learned something, and that's important. Pronoia. I'm a pronoid. I'm pronoid. Pronoid. Dude, that's a great shirt too. Pronoid.
So that's what takes us to the drive-through. Because every single morning, because I was at a place in my life where I was 300 pounds, diagnosed with a brain tumor in the music industry, where, I mean, I had everything I thought I wanted: money, houses, cars, Grammys, world tours. I had all that.
And you were with 2 Chainz, right?
I managed 2 Chainz, Young Dolph, Travis Porter, Bankroll Fresh. I had one of the biggest management companies in all of hip hop. And I felt like my life was crashing. I felt like none of this meant anything. And I felt like a loser, which was so weird. But I had all this evidence that I was losing. And I just got tired.
What was the evidence that you were losing?
I mean, I didn't love myself. I felt stuck in this world I created, my business, and I didn't know how to get out of it. I felt my life was at its end because of my brain tumor. And like, I never even had a girlfriend. Like, I was so like married to my business. I was so, not in love with myself that I wouldn't even let love into my life. Like, and I just was tired and broken, really, and at rock bottom. And like, rock bottom was a real gift for me because it made me look at the roots. Like, let's say like my tree wasn't producing any fruit. Like, I had been trying all these years, like 12, 15 years, to do stuff above the surface to fix my tree. But rock bottom made me realize that like I had to transplant this tree. I had made a mistake, which is scary. Like, when we make a decision in life to go one way or the other, like, it might take 15 years to realize you were down on the wrong path, but I was out of alignment. And I said, I gotta transplant this tree. And I went back to my childhood dream. And when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was be an athlete. That's it. Like, it's all I loved, basketball. And I buried that dream because I could never figure out how to lose weight. Like, in this room is my best friend growing up, Langford. And we played basketball together. We were on a middle school team. Langford became a super successful high school basketball player. And it's just like, I had to give up on my dream because I was always overweight. And when I buried that dream, I got into business. And I love business. Like, I would look at my grandfather. He sold vacuum cleaners. And I thought that was cool. And I was like, I wanna sell vacuum cleaners too. And knock on doors and learn all these like sales techniques to like be my own boss. And I had all these different businesses, and I eventually ended up making this like hip hop website because all my friends, I grew up in Atlanta. All my friends started rapping, and I'm CEO Charlie. Like, that was like my superhero name I gave myself. And I always love like these identities. It's kind of a hip hop thing to like give yourself an identity. Like, wrestlers do it too, and that's fun. And when I wanted to be a businessman, I said, I'm CEO Charlie. That's my superhero name. And I put on the suit to go to school. I had the briefcase, no backpack, and I told everybody I'm going to be rich. And I like lived up to that when I created these websites, and I started like marketing these hip hop artists in high school, and the website blew up. Wasn't making any money, but I was doing something big. It was like the website was called spityogame.com. And we had like the dance movement in Atlanta, like all the dance songs. I was shooting all the videos on YouTube, millions and millions of views. And this is early YouTube. And I go off to community college because my mom, she was like, you either go to school or pay rent. I'm like, Mom, like, she's like, I know you're CEO Charlie and all that, but you know, like, you either go to school, pay rent. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to school. I can't afford rent. So I go to community college and I get a phone call. It was a 323 phone number. And on the caller ID, it said Beverly Hills. I had never gotten a call. Being a kid from Atlanta and seeing LA call you was a big deal. And I answered the phone, and there was a guy by the name of Brian Washington. He said, is this Charlie Jabley? I said, yeah. He said, this is Brian Washington with Interscope Records. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, what's up, man? He said, we just signed this artist by the name of Soulja Boy. And he made a special request. He wants you to be his videographer. And I said, I'm all in. See, Soulja Boy, he wasn't from Atlanta, but he loved Atlanta. He was from Batesville, Mississippi, which is actually very inspirational that somebody can come from like population, 40,000 and do what he did, but he knew that internet. But he was a big fan of what I had created.
Sure.
So I told Brian Washington, I said, look, I'm all in. But then kind of reality set in and said, I got to ask my mom, like, let me go talk to my mom. He said, how old are you? I said, 18. He said, okay, go talk to your mom. So I went home and I said, Ma, I got a phone call and I wanna accept this offer. She said, what's the offer? I said, Interscope Records called me and one of their rappers wants me to go on a world tour. And I could see the look in my mom's face, like, my baby, like hip hop, sex, drugs, violence. And I was like, Ma, please, like, this is my shot. I gotta be able to drop out of school though. And she took a second, she thought about it. She kind of turned her back to me and she was pondering. And then she turned around, she looked at me, she said, when a door opens, you gotta walk through it. And I was like, Ma, I love you so much. Like, my mom was always supportive of my dreams. She always just trusted me. And I really appreciate that about her. She was tough on me. And that was followed up by, you got to pay rent if you're going to drop out. I said, but Mom, I'm not even going to live here. Like, I'm going to be on tour. She said, if your stuff here is, you're going to pay rent. I said, all right, Ma, I'll pay rent. So I ended up on tour with Soulja Boy. And 6 months later, I got fired. I wasn't a good employee. I was thinking it was the Charlie Show. And I learned very quickly that you'll be humbled, like if you're not of servitude. And I ended up right back at my mom's house. Said, Ma, I gotta move back in. She said, are you going back to school? I said, no, like I've gotten a taste of like success. In 6 months, our very first show that we did was at the Rose in Montgomery, Alabama, and we pulled up in a minivan. And within 4 months, we're performing in the Hugh Hefner suite with Kanye West at the VMAs. I got to see a song go from just like the clubs to #1 in the world. Like, we're on TRL. Like, I got to see what's possible from a human being. Even I got to see what's possible from a human being from the country, like Batesville, Mississippi. I'm like, I'm inspired. Like, I said, Ma, like me getting fired is not a losing streak. Like, I'm on a winning streak. And she said, what are you talking about? And like, I've always had this like delusional optimist mentality, like to where like everything could be crashing and I'm going to be delusionally optimistic about it. Like, I even call myself, another one of my superhero names is like, I'm Optimistic Prime. Like, like there's nothing bad can happen to me. Like, I can't lose. And so she said, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm going to be the biggest manager in the world because as the cameraman, I got to be in every door. I got to see how everything worked. I got to see it all. And so I said, I'm going to start managing artists. And she said, what do you know about managing artists? Like, you're just a kid. I said, watch, I'm going to be great at it. And I found this girl group. And I went over to their grandma's house and I gave them a contract. I said, I'm going to get y'all a record deal. And I didn't know if I could get them a record deal. But I've kind of like, it's not so much a lie, but it's like the phrase abracadabra, the word abracadabra. It means, like in its root origin is, as I speak, I create. And so I always just speak things. And I tell everybody, like, I don't hold it to myself. I really believe the phrase, like, I believe that this is a lie. The phrase I'm about to say, I believe it's a lie. Like, and we're taught it at a young age. Like, don't tell anybody, you're going to jinx it. Like, I don't believe in that. I think the devil made up that phrase. Because every time I speak stuff, it seems to come true. I remember in high school, I met this one guy in Las Vegas. He had an internet radio station. And I went to school and I told my friends, oh, I'm about to be on tour. I'm going to be in Las Vegas. I'm going to be here. And I'm basically, in so many words, I'm lying, but I'm really like manifesting. Because I didn't know in high school I was about to be on tour. But within a year, I'm on tour because I just said it. And I told this girl group, I said, I'm going to get y'all a record deal. And they signed that paperwork. And I made one phone call. I called Interscope Records, the same people who fired me. But I called them fearlessly. And I said, I got this girl group. They said, you know what, Charlie? We believe in you. We'll sign them.
The beautiful part of that is the words are important, but you have to back it with belief. True, authentic, genuine belief. And that is the thing that's the actual magic. And then the words are the expression of that, and they can strengthen it and stake that claim, but it's your belief. And people are amazing at belief detectors and bullshit detectors. People can feel when you really believe it. You know, I mean, I remember we're sitting here in Onnit, which is now an empire. And I remember the very first, I was trying to raise $100,000 to start this company. And I go to the first person who's actually both people. There's two. One was Bodie Miller, my friend, and the other was another friend that I knew from, you know, some other business deals that I've been in, a family friend. And I made my whole proposal, and both times they flipped through it like one of those flip books. You know, when you draw something, it's like a guy peeing on a bush or something like that. Like they flipped through it that fast. Both of them looked me in the eye. They said, "Are you going to make this work?" I was like, "Yeah, I am." Okay, that's good enough for me. $50,000 check from Howard, $60,000 check from Bodie, and that started it. Never had to raise any more money. That was it. But that was and it didn't look like it was going to work for a while, but I kept believing that it really was.
Yeah.
And that was the power. And they were acting purely on belief. All of the numbers, the company actually looked nothing like the plan that I put out, but they were betting on me and betting on my belief. And you see that in every aspect, because if you didn't really believe in yourself, you might not have had the courage to make that call. You know, you wouldn't have stepped through the way that you needed to do it. Even fighters, you know, when fighters really believe in themselves, like Conor McGregor, when he was starting out, he believed, like he fought that one fight is probably his peak moment was when he fought Jose Aldo. And he believed so much that he was going to win that both of them were throwing a punch, but he was so fearlessly sure that he was going to knock Jose out. His punch connected, Jose's connected as well, but he connected just that split second faster. And it's his belief that gave him that, like, I'm going to stand right here in the range where I could get my ass knocked out and I'm going to knock him out. And like that belief will create the opportunity based on your actions. Maybe some part of it is magic from the quantum in the universe, but for damn sure, it's going to work because it's going to put you on the balls of your feet, ready to take advantage of any situation that comes.
For anybody who's listening, there's always been this little hack that I've done to actually believe. And then like, because sometimes you got to like brainwash yourself a little bit to believe. And it's this frequency I tune to. And it's just the easy frequency. A lot of times when there's something big and scary that we go into, we say these words, oh, I'm going to be focused this time. I'm going to grind. Oh, like it's going to be hard, but I'm going to work hard. And all those things are kind of like war. They're like war phrases. And yeah, we might be going into war, but we're not really going into war with these things. Like, there's no real gun. There's not, and I with my, like I told my mom, I'm gonna be a big manager. It's gonna be easy. Like I did it with the Nike thing. My friends thought I was crazy.
Tell us about the Nike thing.
This is just proof that manifestation and the magic in this universe is so real. And when there's something meant for you, the universe will conspire for you if you just believe bigger. When I was little, I wanted to be an athlete. My very first stock I bought was Nike. I love Nike. Michael Jordan, read every Michael Jordan book, watched every little documentary there was, studied every move. I love Nike. I had the shoes. I would save up my money. Nike was what I loved because it was an inspirational company. Mm-hmm. It wasn't an athletic company by itself. They loved inspiration. And when I buried that dream and I got into business, I was at the height of my career. And when I hit rock bottom at the same time, to be that high and that low at the same time, I asked myself a question. What's my truest dream? Because there's a lot of dreams, but there's always a dream that was found in our heart, not our mind. Our mind would be like, oh, I see somebody doing something cool. I want to do that. That seems cool. But in our heart, there's these dreams that are just already there. Like the calculator in the iPhone. Like you didn't download that app. Like the dream that was in me is I knew I was going to be an athlete. And for some reason, I knew I was always going to be a Nike athlete. And I was going to be an inspiration to the world as an athlete. And so I went to my business partners. I went to my artists. And I said, I'm going to walk away. They said, Charlie, what are you talking about? Like, we just want a Grammy. Like, we did it. And you're just going to walk away. I said, yeah, like, I'm going to be an athlete. And they're like, Charlie, we know you're sick, but like, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to be an athlete. And they're looking at a 29-year-old, 300-pound, short, white male. I'm like, I'm going to be an athlete. And I said, I don't know what it means, but I got to do it. And I'm going to train for an Ironman. What's the most difficult thing I could do? I'm going to do an Ironman and something big's going to happen. They said, how you going to make money? I said, I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I got to do this. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Because I would have nightmares. I would have nightmares. And my nightmare was always, I would die in my dream. And the thought I would have in my dream is like, oh, I never got to know what it was like to be fit. Because it was the only thing I never was able to do. And so I walked away from the business. I didn't even ask for a buyout. Asked for nothing. I said, I just want a new life. Y'all have everything. The clothing lines. We had 6 different $1 million clothing lines that I built. The studio, we built the biggest studio in Atlanta, still to this day. All these artists, all these tours, all these entities that we built. Biggest DJ website in urban music. Hand over everything. And I moved to California. I went vegan. And my body started healing. I got all the inflammation out of my body. The inflammation didn't just come from food. The inflammation came from my thoughts, came from my surroundings, came from my attitude, came from my belief system. And when I walked away, my body started healing. My brain tumor started shrinking. I started losing weight. I did 5 marathons. I did an Ironman. And I had this revelation. Like, I would write down in my notebook. I have a notebook that I keep every single day. And it's, I call it my quantum possibilities notebook. And I would write the future. And it's something I call futuring, where like, I'll close my eyes and I'll go to the finish line. And I love the finish line. Like, I love the present too, but the present has a lot of things going wrong. And it's easy to focus on the things that are going wrong, like gravity and like it's like this 3D world. But if I can go to the finish line, it makes me believe more, because I don't need to see something to believe it, but like I could see with my eyes closed too. If I could see that finish line and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be easy, and I would write down in my notebook every day, I'm gonna be a Nike athlete. I'm gonna be in a commercial with LeBron James and Serena Williams. And I abracadabra it too. Like, I'll tell all my friends and they would look at me crazy, like, Charlie, like, what are you talking about? Like, how are you gonna be in a commercial with like these legendary athletes? Like, you are you and they're legendary athletes. And I say, it's gonna be easy. And I said, I've done unrealistic stuff my whole life, but I really believe like this is not going to be complicated. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, well, Nike needs an inspirational athlete. And coming from the music industry, I got really good at marketing, and I kind of like can think for companies for them, because influence and culture is what we always did. We changed the way people dress. We changed the way people talk. Like, America's greatest export is culture. And in Atlanta, in the hip hop industry, we created all the culture for America. So I'm like, if I could do this globally from Atlanta, I could do this with little old Nike. Like, but that's my thought process, is like, I'm going to take this big thing and I'm going to make it feel small and say it's easy. And so I told my friends, I said, look, I'm going to make a fan-made Nike commercial, and Nike's going to see it, and they're going to want to sign me as an athlete. But then I kind of faced a little bit of headwinds, because to make a Nike commercial, like quality-wise, is expensive. Like a real film, like a production with original score, the color grading in DaVinci, the audio mix and mastering. And the reason why I faced so many headwinds is because I no longer had 2 Chainz by my side. So when I'm talking to videographers, I can't be like, oh yeah, you could come over and like be a part of this 2 Chainz ecosystem. It was just little old me now sitting in Santa Monica. I didn't have this big entity anymore to attract people in. And I would call my Hollywood television producer friends and I'll tell them what I'm looking for. And they said, Charlie, to make a film like that, it's going to cost you like 30, 40 grand. I said, nah, we'll find somebody who could do it all. Like, there's somebody who could like make this film. They're like, Charlie, like, you're saying that your videographer is going to do the editing, make the music, record the audio, mix and master the audio, and do color grading? I said, yeah, I know there's somebody who could do it. I went out to Gracias Madres, nice little vegan restaurant in LA, sat down with this TV producer, and this dude pissed me off so much because he kept telling me I'm unrealistic. I said, don't tell me I'm unrealistic. I know I'm going to find this person. I said, you know what? I'm going to find him tomorrow. Don't tell me. And I got up and I stormed out. And my friend, he works with John Legend. He's the one who was introducing me to this guy, because I was literally trying to work all my connects to make this crazy fan-made Nike commercial. And I walked outside. I said, man, I'm pissed. Why would he tell me I'm unrealistic? I said, watch. When I find this guy, I'm going to call you and set up another meeting, and I'm going to tell him that I found him. And I was just like being like, I was aggravated. But the next morning, I woke up. I'm living in a house with a few other roommates in Santa Monica. And I'm sitting on the couch, and I have my Quantum Possibilities notebook, and I'm going to go to the finish line, and I'm going to be all magical, and my pen is my wand. And I wrote down these words. I said, today is the day I search / found my videographer and editor. It's done, ! It's easy, ! And I'm sitting on my couch, and my roommate walks in the front door. His name is Morgan. He's an accountant at like Whole Foods. Not exciting guy, right? Normal job. But coming in behind him is this guy with this like big, like steady cam camera filming him. And I'm like, Morgan, like, why are you being filmed? He said, well, my friend Manny called me and he wanted to film something for his Airbnb business. And I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. I just wrote down in my notebook. But then I look over at this camera guy and he looks like very gothic. And I'm thinking to myself, oh God, like this is like interesting.
Different culture.
Different culture. Very gothic, like all black, like he just looked sad.
Mm-hmm.
And I started talking to him. I said, "You do videos?" He said, "Yeah, I do videos, but nobody ever pays me." I'm like, "Oh God, this is not my guy." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Well, I'm just doing this video today because they had some Ferraris and I just wanted to be around some Ferraris." But I was like, "Oh, okay, can I see some of your work?" So I pulled up my computer, went to his little website, and he had this short film on there. And not being very hopeful, I clicked on it and I said, "Man, this is really good, man. Like, did you shoot this?" He said, "Yeah, I shot it, man. They never paid me." He kept bringing that up. And nobody ever pays him. And I said, "Did you edit it?" He said, "Yeah, I edited it." Like, because a lot of times in Hollywood, the people who shoot and people who edit, two different people. I said, "Man, the music on this is amazing. Like, who did this original score?" He said, "Well, I've been in a rock band for about 15 years. We used to be on the Warped Tour." And I'm like, wow, like, shoot, edit music? I said, the audio on this is so beautiful, like rich sound. He said, "Yeah, I have a studio in my living room. I mix and master." I'm like, check. And I'm like, who did the color grading? Because color grading is like a very expensive process. He said, "Well, I taught myself Da Vinci over the past few years and, I color graded." And I'm like literally thinking, he is literally everything I was asking for. And I wrote down in my notebook and I showed him. I said, and he's like, I'm super excited about manifestation. He didn't care anything about it. I said, "I just wrote about you in my notebook." I said, "Look." And he said, that's cool, man. I said, "Do you need a job?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I need a job." I said, "I'll hire you." And we went out to this place called The Counter. We had some vegan burgers. And he said, "So what do you want to do?" I said, "We're going to make a film and Nike's going to want me to be a Nike athlete." He said, "How are we going to do that?" And we pulled out a piece of paper. We started storyboarding and I told him my life story and we spent $350 and we made a film and we put it out on the internet. I had about 10,000 Instagram followers at the time. And it just started spreading. And in 3 days, I got a phone call. And the caller ID, it didn't say Beverly Hills this time. It said Beaverton, Oregon. And I answered the phone. And it was a guy by the name of Andy Miguel. And he said, "Charlie, this is Andy Miguel from Nike. We don't know who you are, but somehow you managed to have our entire campus in a frenzy and everybody's fighting over who's going to bring you to Nike first." And I'm just freaking out. Like, it actually like is happening. And they flew me up to Beaverton and me, knowing that this is a Dow 30 company, one of the biggest companies in the world, I'm thinking they're just going to do a little meet and greet, pat me on the back. Like to me, I was happy with just them calling me and inviting me and giving some shoes. But when I say the universe had a bigger plan, when I got on campus and people were clapping, Charlie Rocket, and they pulled me into this like big conference room, and they had all these televisions, and I was on all of them. And there was like 20 people in the room. And I'm like, I've been in some boardroom meetings. Like, I know when something's a meet and greet and when something is some business. And I'm like, okay, like this might be bigger than I thought it was. And they said to me, "Charlie, we had forgotten why we came to work every day until we saw your film." They said, "We got into the numbers, but your film has inspired us to change the direction of our marketing here at Nike." They said, "We got big plans. We want you to keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to call you with an update when we have it all organized." because they were moving fast. I mean, this was 3 days. They, these big companies have their marketing planned out for the next year and far in advance.
Yep.
And they're changing it. This is February 2018. So shortly thereafter, I did my Ironman. I then started biking across America. That was when I did the very first Dream Machine, where I'm biking from LA to New York and helping people with their dreams everywhere I went. And when I got done biking across America, I get a phone call from a guy at Nike named Tim. He said, "Charlie, I hope you're sitting down." I said, "I'll sit down." I was on a track. I was training for the Chicago Marathon. And I sat down. He said, "Check your email. There's 2 things in this email. One is an NDA that I need you to sign. And the other is a link that I need your approval. All of Nike needs your approval of this." And I'm thinking to myself, y'all need my approval? Like, what is it? He said, "Just watch it." And I clicked on the link, and it is what became the biggest Nike commercial of all time. And it was, I was able to be in it alongside of LeBron James and Serena Williams. And it was the Colin Kaepernick commercial. And it was named after me, Dream Crazy. They named it after one of my fan-made Nike films. And that is when I knew that all I have to do is dream crazy and believe bigger. Because everything I said came true. I said I was going to be in a commercial with LeBron James. I didn't know how, but I knew what the finish line looked like. And the fact that I thought it would be easy the entire way is what actually got me to show up, to try. Because I was delusional about it. And that's what got me to believe that I was going to find my videographer. And he walked in my front door. A lot of people say, "Oh, you can't just wish for stuff and, it comes true. You got to put in action." And I'm like, yeah, but they're marriage. They go together. Because I wish for stuff all the time. And they do walk in my front door. It's because the night before I went to a meeting and somebody told me I was angry. So I really activated my abracadabra of like, no, tomorrow I'm going to find him.
Yep.
But I didn't find him. He found me. And so the universe was like, you know what? Let's call Manny, have Manny call Morgan. Morgan has camera guy come over, all for me. The universe is conspiring for me when I just believe that it's already done. Time just hadn't caught up yet. I knew I was a Nike athlete every single day. I didn't need to be in a Nike commercial to be a Nike athlete. I was a Nike athlete when I made my fan-made Nike commercial. I dressed up as it. I said, what do Nike athletes have? They have Nike clothes on and they have Nike commercials. So I don't need Nike to do that. I just went ahead and started the process for them, and the rest came true.
That's an amazing story, man. And it makes me, think of, there's 2 different aspects of this. One is what we were previously talking about. Your belief was what got you to make the commercial, which was actually what got Nike to be involved. And so the fact that you had that belief allowed you to take the action and allowed you to actually put yourself in the right position to win. And that one is very clear-cut and easy to see. However, then there's the other aspect of the cosmology that becomes in the magical way, in this way that and it's not even really magical, it's just in a way that we don't understand fully with our own worldview, from a materialist, reductionist, scientific worldview that negates the existence of the soul and these other dimensional realities, which I personally know are absolutely real, but you can't prove it. You know what I mean? The fact that the videographer walked through your door, that's the sign of the other thing. Because you did nothing other than send that message to the quantum, to the void, to the universe, whatever language you want to use. You sent that. And then somehow the coincidences all lined up to provide that for you. And the way that I like to look at that is we are multidimensional beings. I've felt it. I don't know how much you know about me, but my audience surely does. 22 years I've been on the plant medicine spiritual journey. All the different sacred ceremonies all around the world. The very first one, I felt my body completely evaporate. And I was an atheist. I didn't believe in anything spiritual, but my body evaporated and the only thing remaining was my soul. And I realized that there was an existence of myself that was on another plane of reality that was separate from my mind and separate from my body. So if you imagine that those things are connected in the collective consciousness and the souls are actually connected to all these other souls, I think we underestimate that our souls are working for us.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes we think of the universe like, the universe is helping me. Sure, but your soul is part of the universe, part of the capital U universe, and is conspiring with all other people who are part of the capital U universe. And so these messages come subtle, and sometimes you don't even really know why you're going to do something, but you just wind up in that spot where this thing happens and this magical thing happens when you allow that communication by sending your prayers, sending your beliefs up there and watching that work. So you have to really, you hear a story like this, and this happens in so many people's life. It happened in my life. It's happened in, I'm sure, a lot of people listening in their life. You have to recognize that there's two parts of this. One is to get yourself in the right position so you have the courage and the audacity to actually walk one foot in front of the other, create your dreams, make the commercial. The other is to be ready to witness and see, those other opportunities that are going to come that you have nothing to do with, that are just pure grace. It's pure grace. And that's the beauty, as you were saying, it's a marriage. It's a marriage of action and a marriage of trusting that we are connected to the source in a way that, is beyond our normal waking comprehension.
Yeah, man. It's so fun when, and for, I guess, anybody listening, y'all are probably pretty fluent in this since y'all listen to Aubrey. But like, even with me, I have all this proof of how manifestation works, but sometimes I lose the frequency, and it becomes hard to believe as big. And something recently happened to me on the tour, and when things are going wrong, you begin to doubt yourself. And I had started this tour that we're on, the Dream Machine tour, where we go across the country helping make people's dreams come true. And it's very expensive. And I had already sold 2 of my homes just because I love giving. And my mom, everybody's like, worried, Charlie, like, you're giving away everything. Like, you gotta raise money. But I didn't know how to raise money. I didn't know how to ask for help. And I kept thinking somebody was just going to call me, and a company was going to call and bless me. But we had gotten to a point where in October we ran out of money, and I was having to look at possibly selling another house and liquidating my assets just to make sure that everybody who has put their trust in me doesn't have to go home, because my team, like Perry, she dropped out of college. Timmy, he started working for free. Ty was, big time corporate guy and left and created a big old agency and just left for this dream. And Langford, big time accountant at the FDIC, been on the road 10 months. And everybody put their trust in me, and there was all this weight on my shoulders. And I'm looking at how am I going to pay these people? And I was right back to this very broken place where a couple of my team members saw the money ran out and they left me. And I'm in New York at an RV park, right in the middle of this tour. And I just needed a blessing so bad. And I didn't know if I would have to cancel the entire tour, but I was wondering where all my magic went. I was like, I've done magical things over and over and over, but where'd it go? I was like, do I need to cancel this whole tour and go realign? And then something told me, you know what? Don't cancel everything. Just cancel for a couple weeks. Go tune yourself to the abundance frequency. And I was leaving New York, and I said to my team, I said, we're going to Atlantic City. I thought Atlantic City was a nice place. It sounded nice. And I was like, we're going to go to Atlantic City, and we're going to sit down for 2 weeks, and we're going to meditate, and we're going to walk around labyrinths, and we're going to write in our journals, and we're going to tune to the abundance frequency. And we canceled the tour for a little while. I told my sponsor who gave us some money that we've already ran through. I was like, look, there's not going to be anything going on for a couple weeks, but don't worry, I'll get the tour right back on the road. and we went to Atlantic City. And on October 19th, I wrote down in my notebook, we're going to raise $200,000 using Instagram. A company is going to sponsor our tour with $500,000. We're going to get a new bus because our bus was breaking down every single day. And it cost me $50,000 to fix our bus. And there was still like $30,000 worth of stuff wrong with it. I said, we're going to get a new bus. ! Easy! ! And in that 2 weeks, we went on Instagram, and I just got up the courage to just start asking for help. And I called a few people, and nobody said no to me. I got $1,000 as our first phone call. And then my second phone call, which just took all the courage in the world to like make it, I called my friend Andy Frisella. And like, I don't like asking my friends for stuff. And I guess it's the music industry, or maybe it's just human nature not to want to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked him, I said, man, can I get you in for a donation? And I had like on the wall these like white pieces of paper, like with these different categories. And one was the Hall of Fame category with $1,000 donation. The second one was the GOAT category at $5,000 donation. And then the third category was superhero at $10,000 donation. And when I showed it to Andy, he said, is there another category? I said, it could be. He said, what would the name of the category for 100,000 be? I said, Greek God. And Andy Frisella donated $100,000. Wow. And I was just like, I never received a donation before. And in my first few phone calls, like that happened. And then all these people just started pouring in, and we raised $200,000. And then I got a DM on Instagram from Nerf. And I went to my team. I said, guys, like, y'all saw my notebook. I said a company is going to sponsor us for $500,000. Like, I just had that feeling that that was going to happen. And so we get on the phone with Nerf, and they said that they wanted to donate. And I looked at my team. I'm like, oh, this could be it. I said, how much? And they said $50,000. I was like, I mean, I was trying not to be sad, but I was thinking it was going to be that magical moment. And it wasn't that magical moment because I was grateful. Don't get me wrong. 50,000 is amazing. But I was wondering if it was going to be the answer to the 500. And then the next day, Nerf calls me and they say, Charlie, don't send over that deck. Because they were like, we're going to donate 50, but send over a deck saying everything that we could do together. And they told me not to send over the deck. I was like, why? They said, this has been escalated beyond Nerf. Word of the higher ups over at Hasbro, who owns Nerf, heard about what y'all are doing. And they said that they want to do something bigger. And they said $350,000. And I looked at the team. I was like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. And then the next day they called and they said 400,000. And then the next day they called and they said, we found 50,000 extra, $450,000. And when I talk about magic, I wrote it down. I didn't. Now, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. Did I manifest that, or did I know the future? Are we manifest? Like, what's the relationship between knowing the finish line that's already written, and so we then write down what we saw the finish line was, or is it we're creating what the finish line is? Because I'm wondering, did I know they were going to call, so I wrote it down, or did I create them calling?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Yeah. I mean, I think your knowing in the moment creates the certainty in the future. But if you didn't believe your way to the knowing, the future wouldn't potentially happen. And I can't explain this in a way that makes logical sense because it's happening in a dimensional reality beyond the one that we normally operate. But I believe that it's both. And I believe there's interesting things that happen with time, especially when an aspect of you is infinite and timeless. And so, yeah, I think it was both. But what the question for me is, you were out of frequency, you were out of res, you kind of lost your magic touch for a while, but then you got back to the journal. But what was it that put you back into that moment with the journal? Did you just feel it again, or did you do something?
I'll tell you, it's being broken, man. There's something about that being broken to where I felt like everything I had been pushing for 3 years to create was falling apart. And it was about to have a crash and burn ending. And I needed a miracle. And I went right back to God, and I went right back to prayer, and I went right back to manifesting. And I'm just like, God, I need a miracle. And when I say God, I mean, I think God, universe, spirituality,
Sure.
I think it's all the same thing. And so I'm like messaging my friends and my family. And like, I have a best friend, her name is Tasia. I said, Tasia, like, I just need a miracle. I need a miracle, because I'm abracadabraing it. If I need something, I'm going to just tell everybody, I need a miracle. I need a miracle. And that brokenness, I just listen to, like I appreciate the dark. Because the dark, I always say, like, the gifts in my life were delivered in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought about Santa Claus. Santa Claus delivers the presents at nighttime. And so I'm like, if it's dark, there's going to be a gift. And sometimes that gift is like being humbled and getting back to your roots. Sometimes that gift is a brain tumor. And without the brain tumor, I'd never be a Nike athlete. Sometimes that gift is 300 pounds. And it's like reconnects me to my dream in an extreme way. So at that point of like having to cancel this tour where we're helping people and all I want to do is help people, it brought me back to the intention to align. Because what if I was just comfortable? I'll just keep going. But I got back aligned. And since that day, we've raised over $1.2 million. And I realized I'm good at running a foundation. That before that moment, I was afraid to ask people for help. And now I'm like 3 days after being fearful of asking for help, I was like, I think I found my calling, guys. I think I'm good at running a foundation. I'm supposed to have a nonprofit because I'm good at it. And I didn't even know I was good at it. So I really appreciate the dark and how it almost fell apart, because it got me back closer to my abundance frequency that I had lost because I was just comfortable and I wasn't asking for abundance.
So the trick is, and we had this little conversation on the live stream that I did for the Fit for Service Academy, and we always have a little conversation with the guests in person on that. So anybody listening, if you want to be privy to this, check it out. But we had a conversation, and you were talking about how it's been hard for you to give yourself the care that you need. You're on this Dream Machine tour. You're blessing people all over the place in drive-thrus, in homes, in different areas. Like amazing, like touching stories that you're doing all the time. But you're starting to feel yourself put your weight back on and get yourself in more challenging conditions. What occurs to me is that there may be a belief that you have that you have to get to the darkness to unlock the greatest element of your magic, because desperation will bring that to you. There's no doubt about it, whether it's neuroplasticity to help you learn something, whether it's that motivation. There's lots of science about how those, when you really need something, you'll show up in a bigger way. But that's a painful way to go about it, and it's not the only way. There's a way to do that without having to put yourself with your back against the wall. You know, like a great playoff team doesn't need to go down, 3-1 to be like, all right, now we got to fucking play, boys. Like we can't lose this. They just come out of the gate and they keep that. Even when they're up 3-0, they finish it 4-0 for the clean sweep, no matter what. And I think for you, making sure that you track that belief so that you don't try to put yourself in another situation where you're having some health problem that forces you to ask for a miracle. Know that you can keep from the place where you're winning, keep winning and keep winning and keep that fire going from your own intention and volition.
Powerful stuff. I like that.
Yeah, man.
It's time to run it up. We can't go down. We got to
That's
run it
right.
up.
That's right.
We got to run it up,
We
baby.
gotta run it up.
We're not taking any more L's.
Yeah.
Not to win, at least. We might take some L's, but not intentionally. I like that. Thank you, man.
For sure. What are the challenging moments for you, man? What are you seem like such an inspirational, positive guy, and you've talked about some dark times in your life, but just in your day to day, like what's still a struggle? What's still hard?
Well,
You talk about the easy button, but what's hard for Charlie?
I would say it's definitely been hard for me to change my belief system that I can work really hard and lose weight at the same time or be healthy at the same time. And I know it's a reprogramming issue, that I really got to work on, because the only time I was able to lose weight is when I walked away from being busy. But I've got to fight that head on. Because I looked at myself in the mirror this morning and it's just like, oh man, kind of go into victim mode a little bit, because I know I eat super clean. We'll go out to a restaurant. Everybody will have these nice New Orleans meals and I'm eating my broccoli and rice pilaf. But then to see me puff up in the same, and it's very easy to fall back into victim mode. Like, why am I so different? Why don't I have the energy that my peers have? Why am I exhausted? Why am I, eating healthy? And I'll slip back into those old ways, and it's not as severe as it used to be. But when I get over this little line where I look at my face and it's becoming puffy, and the little jacket I tried on, I wanted to wear this jacket that I love. It's like my little G-Star camo jacket, and I put it on and I'm like, I can't even wear it. Let me wear a hoodie that doesn't show my stomach so big. So it's those are the things I struggle with. But what's different now is I actually love myself, where before I didn't. I had my ex-girlfriend, she taught me how to love myself. I never loved myself before her. And she loved me so much that everybody always said, Charlie, you got to find self-love. And I didn't know what that meant. I just didn't know. But then this woman, she loved me so much that I started believing it. I'm like, I must be amazing, because this woman loves me so much that she downloaded all these programs of love into me just based on how she loved me. And ever since her, I love myself. So now I'm not in this sabotage. I look in the mirror, but I didn't sabotage myself. In the past, it would be, oh God, and then I get real stressed out and start binge eating. I don't do that anymore. I still think I'm amazing. I don't self-sabotage, but I do have this victim subconscious mentality of, why can't I be like my friends? All of them are so fit and healthy, and we're all living the same life. And it's I don't have the energy. I get really beat down on the road, and I don't have the energy to go work out, because I have to sleep 11 hours tonight because I'm so on E, and I compare myself to other people. So that's my current struggle that I'm working on figuring out, and the sooner the better.
Well, Charlie, I got good news for you, man.
Talk to me.
It's easy.
It's easy. That's what I'm talking about.
It's easy, man.
It's easy.
It's easy to work that hard and be in the shape that you want. It's easy to keep that weight off. It's easy. It's easy. I'm telling you, man, it's easy. Now, with that, there may be some information downloads that you need. You may need to look at the nutritional system in a different way and support yourself in a different way. Look at getting into ketosis, which is going to solve two problems: one, weight; two, energy. Have you ever felt yourself in a state of nutritional ketosis? Do you know what that is?
I have an interesting relationship with ketosis that I got to reprogram myself on, because most of my life, ever since I was 8, I did keto diets. And I guess I wasn't knowledgeable, but I would always remove sugar, but then I would binge eat on sugar, and then I would go right back on a keto diet. And this was for years and years and years. So I formed a binge eating disorder. And when I went vegan, I started eating a lot of fruit, and it saved me from the chocolate. So I like sugar. Sugar is what I have an addiction to. And I would binge eat 10, 15,000 calories in a night. And it would be so interesting because my body would never get full. I would always it would always start with just one little thing, like maybe a candy bar, but then I would be like craving, because I told myself that I'm not supposed to have sugar. So I'd be like, okay, this is my last night ever doing this. And it would go from one gas station, it would always be gas stations. It would be like all the pastries, all those things. And I don't know why the removal of sugar caused so much panic in my body. But I no longer have a binge eating disorder. It took me years to recover from that. But yeah. So I think it might be a little bit deeper, but I would love to talk to you about it.
And these are all opportunities to reprogram. You know, like what happened in the past, that was Charlie of 5 years ago, Charlie of 10 years ago. That person's not you.
True.
You're the person that's learned from that and has awareness from that and has done different things in that. And so at any given point with your belief, you see, you have powers that I know you have. And it's just applying them to the same thing. Applying them, this is easy. I'm not that person. I'm this person on a winning streak. I'm not going to go back to the binge eating disorder because of this thing. I got this. And you continue to fuel that same thing for yourself. But I think it also has to go to that fundamental root cause, which may be I need to put myself in a place of desperation because that's when my magic is unleashed. So the first belief is I am magical all the time, no matter what. Like all of these, like when I'm on a winning streak, I'm going to run up the score. And it's that idea. It's the idea that you can keep, so you don't have that self-sabotage, impulse, which may be linked to that. I don't know exactly. You'll find it if you look. But you just start to reprogram all of these beliefs and then try these different things out. Because the thing about ketosis is you can start eating in a certain way, but until you actually flip the switch and you're measuring it in your test strips or your breath and you're actually in nutritional ketosis, well, then you've just switched a few things around. And there's a lot of aspects of the human body that are, when they're conditioned to something, like conditioned to sugar, you starve them of that, they start to freak out. Candida albicans is one of those things that develops in our gut when we get gut dysbiosis, especially when we have a lot of sugar foods. I'm sure you probably had antibiotics when you were a kid. We all have. So you get these things. And so all of these organisms contribute their information to the brain. Like we're just a bunch of cells and our bodies communicate and we think this is my thought. Well, where did the thought come from? The thought came from our organism itself. So as you start to starve these microorganisms like Candida, which is probably overgrown in your gut, you start to starve them of their food source, which is sugar. They're on the verge of dying. They start to freak out and they're like, Charlie, man, go to that fucking gas station, stock up. We need more. So you're going to have the resilience and that courage to push through that and actually know where it's coming from and be like, all right, little buddies, it's all right. Like, it's time to let go, back to source for you. You're going to let go. You're going to pass through my body easily. Just let go, guys. And then as you talk yourself through that, then getting yourself into legitimate nutritional ketosis, not just like I'm eating more fats and protein, but measured, and have something. They have a great breath tester called Keto, and you can use the strips or whatever. And in the meantime, get some exogenous ketones. And now this is for everybody out there, because I think this is the most reliable plan to do that, because I don't have an issue with weight, but I do have issues with energy and I do have issues with mental clarity. But when I'm actually in nutritional ketosis, I'm on fucking fire. I am on fire. And that alone is worth it, let alone the fact that you're training your body to actually use fat as fuel. So that's why it's actually so good for weight management. So, man, I think the combination of unleashing the power of your mind with that formula and then there's so many great fucking keto snacks now. I mean, like keto cookies and things. My cabinet is full of stuff. I can just binge on it, but it all has the right macronutrients. You start to shift that around. And I think that's going to allow that statement that we made that it's going to be easy. It's going to allow that to happen, but it needs both. It needs both the action of what you're doing and your mind tilted to that in exactly the same tenacity and ferocity. And with that unbendingness, that's the thing about like when you're not resisting anymore, then it really is easy. When you're surrendered to this is what I'm going to do. This is just what I'm going to do. Then it becomes easy. Then you're like, well, whatever it is, I have to do it. I liken it to like climbing up a mountain is, you have all of this mental resistance. Like, should I keep going? Should I not keep going? Should I turn back or whatever? But if you're already at the top, you have to get down. So going down, it's not even a question. You're like, I gotta fucking get down. I don't care if I'm tired. I gotta get down. I can't sleep up here on the mountain, because you have to. So all of the resistance just drops and you're not questioning anymore. And that's the place, I think, for all of us who want to accomplish something, just surrender to the fact that it's done. It's already done. I already did this. I'm doing it. There's not another choice. It's like, there's no way that I'm going to back out. We all have our challenges. We all have the things that are hard. Some of the things that you've done seem impossible to other people. And then some of the things that you're working on, there's other people who are like, oh yeah, I can do that. But that's the beauty of having a community. That's the beauty of, us connecting. Like I've learned from you today to even be more audacious and to use my belief. And these are things that I've known, but watching you and feeling you who put that in action, that's the thing. When you're around someone who's really doing it, it's different than hearing about it. It's like, for real that's happening. Like I can learn about the Wim Hof method, about, the breath work and going in the cold, but then you hang out with Wim Hof and you're like, wow, this shit's real. And for me to spend time with you, I feel that in a different way. And so I'm doubling down on my own manifestation practice. And at the same time, because now we're homies, we're in community. It's like, I can tell you, yeah, man, this nutritional energy stuff, like this is easy. Like we got this, and that's, I think, what's so important about everybody coming together in community. And I think the thing that's going to solve this big challenge that we've been in collectively is everybody's so isolated. But if we all like reach out and start to like feel like one big tribe, one big community again, we'll solve all each other's problems. Like we have the resources to do it. Like we have the information, we just need to get out of our own isolation and selfishness and just be like, here we are, let's reach out and support each other.
And it starts with a little bit of just honesty. I don't really like use the word vulnerable, because when I looked up the definition of vulnerable, it doesn't like really align. But like the definition of vulnerable is likely to be preyed on. And I feel like when you're honest about a problem, you're less likely to be preyed on.
Yeah.
You're more likely to be helped.
Yeah.
And so, like how you asked me what's something I need help with, I mean, I can only imagine how many people going to reach out and try to help me. And nobody's going to try to prey on me. Because it's like Eminem in 8 Mile. When he dissed himself, he couldn't lose the battle. He won the battle. So when we all have problems, just be honest. We don't have to hide it.
Yep.
And watch the help come.
We think that these things that, aren't perfect about ourselves, we think that people are going to judge us for them. And, some of that's conditioned. You have something that you're struggling with and you're, with in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, and maybe all the way up to high school, depending on where you're at. People may prey on you for those things that, are different than other people. But that's young humans with their own conditioning, with, wildly underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, and also just falling victim to this kind of bully group mentality. And so maybe we are conditioned to believe that, but that's not the way the world always is. That's not the way that it is now. And that's not what I see, because I see exactly what you see, is that the world we're in. And so for some of us, it may take some reconditioning of that belief that the world, the more we show this, the world will love us and respond in love. And sure, maybe there's that, one troll, that one asshole who says something, but the overwhelming response is going to be positive when you open up.
What's something you're struggling with right now?
I wrote about it in a newsletter I released yesterday, actually. And my life is so fucking good. My life is so good, but I feel like I'm just 1 or 2 clicks away from really enjoying it up to the level of how good it is, Like I still get troubled by a lot of things. I still worry about the future. I still think about something different I could have done in the past. I still put a lot of pressure on myself to perform. And I know that until I can really let that go and have more faith, like you talk about a superpower, if I was going to have a superpower, it would be faith. I have no reason not to have faith, but there's a level of it that if I could just turn the dial up to 100, where I absolutely believe it's all going to work out. It always has.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I got in this gnarly car crash for no reason, whatever, like I had faith then. Again, it was my back to the wall thing. I woke up after the jaws of life pried me out and I came to in the hospital, my nose peeled off my face and my lips split open. I had hundreds of stitches putting my face back together. I had no idea how it happened. And I was like, oh, this happened for me. I just don't know why yet. I had faith then because my back was to the wall. But on every little day-to-day thing, what about this thing? And what about this deadline? Or what about this thing I got to do? I'll still fall into worry, fall into this place of, I don't know how it's going to go. What's going to happen here? I wonder if this is going to work out. But fuck, like the solution, what I need is faith. And, meeting you has helped me with that because I realize that I'm a co-participant in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And as I raise my faith, the universe responds with even more abundance because we're in agreement.
Mm-hmm.
We're synchronized in ways. And it's sometimes frustrating for me that I'm like, that I know as much as I do about that. And I just still have trouble, like just turning the dial all the way up. Like, come on, Ob, just fucking turn it up, like max it out, turn it to the right as hard as you can until the dial doesn't go anymore and it just says max. And blow the speakers out of faith and just let it go.
I used to be a warrior, pessimistic, even though I was a big believer. And there was one little thing I did to practice all day, every day, this one thing. And I always just say, like, God's got me. Like, I say it 100 times a day. I even take it to the extent to where, like, I don't lock my doors because I just practice. I'm like, God's got me. And nobody ever steals from me. And I remember I'd even go to the gym and not put a lock on my locker. And one day I went to the gym with my workout clothes on. So I had nothing to put in my locker but my wallet. And I just put my wallet in the locker. And my friend who went with me to the gym, he said, "You're not going to put a t-shirt over that?" I said, "God's got me. Like, I'm good. I can't lose." And all my friends always tell me every time, like, it's just an ongoing, funny entertainment thing. Like, I lock the door. I'm like, nah, God's got me. But this day I put my wallet in a locker and it was just sitting in there by itself. And when I got done working out, I went back to the locker, no lock on it, and there was nothing in there. I was like, oh shit. Like, I guess I finally learned my lesson. But then I said, no. There's no way. There's no way. I said to my friend, I'm going to go down to the front. It's going to be there. And so I go down to the front and I said, has anybody turned in a wallet? They said, very interesting story. I said, what do you mean? He said, we found this wallet in the parking lot. And I said, I know what happened. Whoever stole my wallet was about to leave, and then God struck them with lightning, and they were like, I don't want anything to do with this. And then the security guard took it to the front and turned it in just for me. And I say to my friend, I said, God's got me. Like, I literally practice it delusionally all day, that pronoia, as many times as I can. Oh, we're good. Oh, I'm good. Like, I can't lose. I'm on a winning streak. Nothing bad can happen to me. And my worry went away because my brain can only really think about one thing at a time, like consciously. And so I try to plug that conscious thought in a lot till it becomes just like a habit to where that's just how I think now.
Practice makes the master of everything, whether it's self-love, whether it's basketball, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. And pronoia, the master of pronoia is the one who practices pronoia. The master of someone who has faith is the one who practices faith. I think it's important for me to remember. It was a great story because like that is the thing. Just keep practicing.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes you can get in this idea that you're just going to flip a switch and all of a sudden you're a changed person but that's not the way the brain works. It's not the way the self works. It works by practicing step by step and having like more faith and more faith. And I love that, man. Thank you.
That's my version of my strong muscles.
And as I said, if I was going to have a superpower, it wouldn't be to be like, one of the strong, powerful superheroes that you see. It would be to just be, I would be faith man.
I'm gonna send some your way. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, man, I'll take it all. I'll take it all. Easy.
Easy.
Well, brother, this has been beautiful, man. It's been beautiful to spend the day with you. Anything you want to highlight for people who want to follow along with your work or dive a little deeper?
Yeah, come find me, guys. Charlie on Instagram.
Which is great, by the way. I don't know how you got that.
Want me to tell you a magical story?
Matt, please.
Abracadabra. So, I had just got back on Instagram from a 1-year hiatus. When I walked away from my business, I was like, I'm getting rid of social media. I changed everything I consumed, from food to social media to TV. And when I got back on Instagram, I had this dream, like in the night, a nighttime dream. And I saw that I was running for president, but I was running on a first name basis. Just Charlie for president, not Charlie Jabbely. And I saw the yard sign. And I called my friend Scott. I said, Scott, I have a feeling that one day I'm going to be like first name basis, like Oprah is, or like a Zendaya is. And I just was joking about it. I said, I'm going to be the Charlie for the world one day. And the next day, I got a DM from this lady who used to be in the music industry. Her name is Fadia Cater. She used to be in the music industry, and she got hired at Instagram. And she said, Charlie, like, your transformation is so inspirational. I have a gift I want to give to you. I said, what is it? She said, I'm not supposed to do this. But she said, there's this name that's been deactivated. I want to give it to you. And she gave me the name Charlie. And it was just... And I called my boy Scott. I said, that first name thing might be true. And she just gave it to me. First name, Charlie.
That's great. At Aubrey. At Aubrey. It's easy.
It's easy.
That's awesome, man. Well, it was great to connect with you, brother. More in the future. And thanks to your amazing team as well. It's been great to hang with that.
Y'all clap it up for the dream team at home. We got Lank. We got Tyler. We got Timmy the Dreamer. We got Perry in the house.
Thanks to my brother Christian Pitty over
Christian!
there. To line this whole thing up. Keep making dreams, brother.
We will, man. Thank you.
For sure. Thanks, everybody. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for checking out this video. For more like it, please subscribe to my channel. And of course, the Aubrey Marcus podcast with new episodes every single week. And follow me on Instagram at Aubrey Marcus. Thank you so much.